fade away. To hear your quiet slowly distracts my head. It's a girl in the middle of the nothingness. And you tell me why to alter the truth, and I stand here to explain it with you. And you disappear in front of my eyes. So what's why remember I'm alive. And I really miss the sunshine, my love. And I really miss the sunshine, baby. Oh yeah. And I really miss the sunshine, my love. And I really miss the sunshine, baby. Oh yeah. Thousands of people, friends, regardless directions ahead. It's only been lonely, I feel so lonely. And it's time to rain. The gray inside my head is sad to fade away. To hear your quiet slowly distracts my head. It's a girl in the middle of the nothingness. And you tell me why to alter my truth, and I spend 3 days explaining to you. And you disappear in front of my eyes. So what's why remember I'm alive. And I really miss the sunshine, my love. And I really miss the sunshine, baby. Oh yeah. And I really miss the sunshine, my love. And I really miss the sunshine, baby. Oh yeah. Tell me why and you tell me why to alter the truth, and I spend 3 days explaining with you. And you disappear in front of my eyes. So what's why remember I'm alive. And you tell me why to alter the truth, and I spend 3 days explaining with you. And you disappear. And I really miss the sunshine, baby. And I really miss the sunshine, baby. Oh yeah. And I really miss the sunshine, And I really miss the sunshine, baby. One, two, three. Look into the eyes and show the end of the world. I will never do love, but I will call it become. Can't express me still, can't express me still. The absolution. Can't express me still, can't express me still. The absolution of love. It's a precious baby, it's a precious baby. That's what you are. It's a precious baby, it's a precious baby. Next time you say don't talk, I say you talk. Because no one's living life. I need to compromise my life, and I say that you always are. But that's sad, because can't express myself, can't express myself. Because can't express myself, can't express myself. The absolution. It's a precious baby, it's a precious baby. That's what you are. It's a precious baby, it's a
Alright, hey guys, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. I was having a hard time with my headphones, so just really quickly, it's not that concerning story, but I have some new wireless headphones and I wanted to use them to listen to things, so I didn't have a cord, but when I did that, it overrode my blue snowball. Oh, I'm sorry. How about I turn that off? I'm all kinds of flustered now because of all of this, because I was trying to get various media sources in and it was just a nightmare. So it was like live problem solving on the fly, but we got it sorted out. We have sound. You can hear me. That's the most important thing. Even if you couldn't see my video, it would be still better if you could hear me, because that's really what the entertainment comes from, is communication. Right, and so I'm kind of now getting out the physical wires that I've just put away from my headset so I can hear things that you're going to hear. So I don't know about you guys, but I've got a lot of adrenaline now. That was better than a boost of coffee. How are you guys doing? Yeah, got the music going. Sorry. Like I said, I was all kinds of rattled and thrown by my utter failure of my snowball to work. I just wasn't expecting that. But yeah, anyway, the important thing now is that we are live and everything is going fine. So let me just remove one of these things here. We don't need, oh, wrong one, never mind. I'll just mess around with that after the show. I won't try to do anymore. Happy Sunday, you guys. Well, in addition to those technical problems because of the way Bluetooth works with OBS, that I said kind of threw me. Also, it looks like I'm a little bit soft. I'm going to turn my volume up a little bit so that I'm in the yellow. That's kind of where I like to be when I do these shows. Yeah, I got some news last night before I went on Chrisiosity's channel to do the show that she's doing now with other lefty kind of people. We're doing a gaming. We're doing D&D, but we're broadcasting it live. It sound like I live in a forest? Is my sound weird? Let me see. I'll mute a couple of things here. I've got all the backup things should be muted now. So you can tell me if that's a little bit better. I don't want to take time to watch the live show to hear my sound. So I'm going to trust you guys. How's my sound? Is it terrible? Is it awful? I guess we'll find out. I'll just watch the chat. Oh, okay, right. All right, you're talking about somebody else in the chat. All right, good. I thought it was a sound comment for me. Like, no! Anyway, yeah, so last night, before I went on that show, I got, my channel was looking different. I'm like, what is up with this? Where's, like, my chance to monetize my content? And I found out that I'd been demonetized by YouTube. It's not for any right-wing content or far-right content. It's actually for a more annoying reason. They told me that they were demonetizing my channel because I was putting up like other content, or like repetitive content. Like I was putting things up that didn't have like an educational or fair use application. In other words, I was mirroring content. But what's annoying is, one, there's two kinds of content that I mirror. Not really mirror, but engage with. Like here are the PragerU videos that I've been doing, which is definitely fair use, and we do a lot of educational fact-checking, so it can't be my live streams. There's really only one other kind of type of content I've been putting up since my work has been crazy, and that is when I mirror the happy hour from Kevin's channel. And oftentimes I'll break it up into like 3 segments, because when we were running 3 hours, that's a long time, so I was doing that. I was also, ironically, trying to bleep out some of Kevin's swearing so that the content could be demonetized. That was a lot of time and effort, and everybody hated everything no matter what I did. So that I stopped doing that. But what they're basically saying is that if I go on Kevin's channel and we make content together, that's 100% our content, both 100% his and 100% mine, I can't mirror it? What? Well, but that's me. I'm not just taking random stuff. So I kind of don't really know what, yeah, is anyone still monetized here? Exactly. You know, they are finding lots of ways to crack down and demonetize people. You know, if you put up a video, the first 3 or 4 days is when you get the most views. And if they demonetize you after 300 views, often they'll say you now have to get up to like 1,000 views within 7 days before we'll consider monetizing it, which means they just basically, took away the largest part of your audience. So you get 1,000 people who then watch it for free, and later on you get demonetized. You've lost that monetization. So even the question, to be honest, is, do I even care at this point? If nothing else, so, I could in theory go back and scrub my channel of all of my happy hour content, or I could appeal it based on the fact that I'm in that content and it's my content and I'm not mirroring it. I'm not just mirroring things that other people are putting up. I'm showing my own viewers things that I am part of. And if YouTube wants to encourage creator collaboration, then you're going to have to, let people mirror their appearances on other channels as an exception to that rule. I'm thinking about making a video to YouTube about this. Maybe you guys can tell me in the chat if you think that would be a good idea. But it's seriously bullshit because, and I don't even care if I swear anymore. Fuck all that, because I'm demonetized. I guess on a Sunday morning I shouldn't be dropping that many F-bombs. I did that one for effect, really. But they're pretty much, just trying to find ways to cut corners and force creators to look to their viewers to monetize their content as opposed to the independent contractor. Or it's almost like YouTube is giving you a platform that you can find your own supporters as opposed to providing them with monetizable content that they profit from, which they do. And if somebody wants to copyright claim my content here, they're going to profit off of that. So if I get something demonetized, but it's got, somebody else's music in it, then those people can actually monetize my demonetized mirrored content twice and they get paid for all the views. So, yeah, fuck you, YouTube. I generally don't, I know there's a lot of problems with YouTube. And another thing on my, mental to-do list was to create online focus groups where YouTube creators could come and complain about YouTube. Just have people from different communities, the makeup community or the, opening boxes community or the politics community, just come in and talk about what their difficulties are as creators and how maybe there are common problems that manifest in different ways across different types of content, and it would be a basis for understanding our commonality so we could unionize, because I think creators unionizing would be the best solution to this, where we would, do content strikes. We would private our channels for a day, not just private a video, but actually just remove content. And of course it will hurt you if you're monetized, but it will hurt YouTube more if we did it collectively, because they make, if they can't reliably put out ads on stuff or people are complaining, it's bad press for them. Well, anyway, that's a whole lot of work and I don't have time for that. We've got the rise of fascism to counter in America. YouTube monetization is such a first world problem for me, at least, not for other people. And this is the other thing about it is, as I've been working longer as a civil servant, I've got a comfortable income. I don't have a lot of extra money. I got massive student loans. My student loan payment is as much as my rent. So I got expenses, y'all. and death is pretty much my retirement plan. I'm hoping I don't live long enough to make it to retirement so I don't have to deal with how I'm going to fund it. That's my retirement plan. But I'm not like Dusty Smith, or I'm not like some of the other creators who do live more on the margins economically. And so I do want to keep up the opportunity for people to support me because it is helpful. I've got better technology. I'm putting out what I think is better content. And definitely the software I'm using, the cameras I have, all of that stuff, was funded from basically my patrons, much less so than YouTube. YouTube maybe made me $200 a year. And once you hit 100, you have to wait another month before it even clears. So they get to hold on to your money for all that time before they pay you out. So is it worth a whole lot of stress and nonsense and, compromise for myself and my content for $200 a year? Not really. It's annoying that you guys can't give me super chats here because I do, that interaction is really great, but I'm going to keep my Patreon going. I'm going to have my Patreon hangout later on tonight after Steve Shives ends. His goes from noon till 1 on the East Coast, and I'm going to go from 110 to whenever, because it's going to be a long one. That's what she said. Hey, Sunday morning, no monetization. So I didn't actually intend to talk about it this much. I was just going to say I don't really care about monetization. We won't make it to 2030. You're right. Climate change will just destroy us all and civilization will collapse. So all that pension I paid into won't ever even materialize. In 3 countries now, I've paid into the pension schemes of the United States, Britain, and Germany. So I'm spreading my bets across three Western economies. We'll see how that goes. So I haven't basically made up my mind as to whether or not I actually care about YouTube demonetization and whether or not I can be bothered to play their game anymore, considering it's not financially worth it. And I'm going to YouTube. Like, at this point in my life, I don't YouTube for the money. It started out as a hobby, and I think perhaps lots of people who start off in YouTube have maybe delusions that they're going to make some big impact or become the next ContraPoints, but we don't. Most of us stay smaller channels. And the thing is, I don't want a big channel. I don't want the attention. I don't want the criticism and critique. I like having this time with you guys. I like being under or around 10,000. 5 figures is good. It's a good enough community in terms of interaction and dynamism, but it doesn't start to attract, national, be the spokesperson. And I don't want that. I don't want that. Right. And the dirtbag left. Yes. Well, that's a whole thing. Yes. So, in an attempt to be more professional, I've even put up show notes here. You guys can't see them because I haven't changed the screen over. All right, so demonetization. Yeah, let's just talk about me because my problems are the biggest in the world. Not, but what I thought we would start off with today is actually something that is not fascism. And you guys know I like the hip hop, especially I like ribbity rap. That is, I like lyricism. I like punchlines. I like really interesting cadences and flows and changes in flow. I like, riding the beat and sort of, maybe doing some stuff off on the syncopation in terms of how you, kind of hold that beat out where you land on it. I couldn't handle Trump first thing in the morning. We're going to talk about him probably in the second half of the show. But I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to check out this. I'm going to actually turn my camera a little bit here so it looks like I'm looking at the thing. See, more stuff that could have been done pre-show. There we go. Oh no, now you can't see me. Oh, so professional. Yeah, you can see why people pay me for my content, can't you guys? All right, so there we are. No, I'm not even looking anywhere close to the right direction. Oh, this is annoying. All right. Yeah, so we are gonna look at some hip hop, and there was a cipher that came out last week. It was a YouTube cipher. Honestly, I didn't think it was that good. It had 4 artists, I'll say, on it. 4 artists on it. The first guy was pretty much a mumble rapper. I mean, it was not, yeah, it wasn't my jam. I'll just say it like that. It was not my jam. Then there were a guy who could sing really well, but he wasn't really doing a lot with the raps. And then the last 2 artists, there was a woman and a guy, and they had some bars. Then I saw that Crypt had this up. Hold up, you guys. I'm gonna change this. And this is interesting to me anyway. This was a series of really amazing rappers, in my opinion, and I wanted to share it with you guys. The other nice thing about it is I'm gonna turn up the quality. It must be kind of crap. Yeah, I'm gonna turn up the quality to 72. Hopefully that won't lag. But you'll want to see the bottom of the screen because it has the lyrics on it, which is, I think, really helpful when you're first, starting out or getting to know somebody. Whoa. Ho. Wait a minute. Oh, it was muted anyway. That's okay. Yeah, so I just thought we'd start with that, and we'll start with a little in the morning, get the hearts going. But maybe before we do, we can check out the chat, see what you guys are saying. Right. We could make a happy hour channel. Yeah, I thought about that. That we could, maybe that would be a solution, because it's hard, I think, for you guys as fans to bounce around between our channels. And also, if you wanted to catch up on things, everything is not all in one place. So perhaps because Kevin is demonetized and I'm demonetized, maybe the best thing to do would be to kind of create a happy hour channel and just try to get you guys to come over and subscribe there. And then we could, move all the videos over or something. But that, again, it's work. It's like stuff. But I understand the idea, and it's not a bad one. I'm just saying how lazy we are. Let's see. Patreon must be loving this. Yeah, but they're driving the people to set up Patreons in order to maintain the same level of income they had before the apocalypse. Yeah, YouTube is just winning from this. They're just winning. That's it. If you can't say fuck on a Sunday morning, when can ya? Exactly. Yada yada. Don't worry about retirement. We won't make it to 20. Oh, I did that one already. I don't think YouTube would really care if people who make your type of content strike. What's that? Strike. Oh, strike. You'd need a lot of people to do Let's Plays and makeup tutorials. Yeah, that's why you start with focus groups, to identify common areas of difficulty as workers within a capitalist system, and identify points on which different communities could identify points on which the various communities had a common grievance and could articulate a specified and reasonable solution to YouTube. And if that solution isn't implemented, then we can escalate the pressure by doing things like organizing a strike or making a lot of videos about how YouTube is selfish and greedy or something. But yeah, of course, strikes only work when they have a big effect. So, happy hour playlist. Yeah, I think Kevin has one. I think he's got one, but I don't know that we really promote it. You'd have to know that it's on his channel, and it would be amongst all his other playlists. I also try to keep up a happy hour playlist, but it's about remembering to curate it. So, try to find ways around this. Tell us about the Bundesamt Technisches Hilfswerk, or in English, the Federal Agency for Technical Relief. You know more about it than I do, mate. What was that? Mike, you're killing me here. What's that? Yeah, it's nice to be monetized, but yeah, I will do this without YouTube and without their restrictions. So yeah, why play the game? All right, I think we're about ready. But this coffee, I had some, it tasted so good. Is it raining in Germany? It was raining this morning. I woke up unusually early for me. My sleep patterns are super off because of my travels. At least super early for me on the weekend. One thing that I love in life, besides the taste of a warm cup of coffee, like that is just joy. The other thing I like, a free little part of life that I treasure, is being able to sleep until I wake up. To be able to sleep until, not be woken up by an alarm. That to me is, And this morning it was at 7:10 and it was raining out my window. Maybe that's why I woke up. But it rained last night quite a lot. It rained again very early in the morning, and then it was raining again later in the morning. It's not where you are. Okay, well, it's not at the moment, but it has been raining. Not currently raining. Is that exciting? Is that interesting things to hear about? Like weather in Germany? I'll answer any questions. Well, most any questions. Right of refusal and all that. But all right. So I still have my cool ass headphones. I love my Sony headphones. My gosh, you guys, I've been living in these. They are the best. The sound in them, I told you, it's like wearing a cinema theater surround sound on my ears. And it's got noise cancellation. Babies on planes. What babies on planes? I don't hear any crying babies. Are there any children on this flight? I wouldn't know about it. I'm going to listen to this in my headphones. I would recommend, since this is coming across on OBS, you guys can listen to it in your headphones as well and get the high quality, high definition YouTube sound that our capitalist overlords provide us with. I don't know how much, let's see, I might have to full screen this and just blow you guys out in terms of, oh no, I'm in the way. Oh no, Christy, you're in the way. Okay, hold on. Let me get out the way. I'm going to put in, okay, hold on, there we go. Woo! But Kitty can stay. Kitty's fine. Kitty's fine. But I want you guys to be able to read the words. Yeah, we're going to start with the cipher. Cipher is just, people rapping. And they are each get on a song, they do some verses. And there are some great verses on here with some great artists. And people I had never even heard of. Like this first guy, I have no idea who he is. Never heard of him before. And basically, I want to say all the people on here, they don't always have the best bars across their entire cipher, but at some point, they all go hard, as you'd say. All right, if I see any particularly good wordplay or something else that I like, I'll just pause it for, for monetization? I still need to do it by fair use, so of course I'll do commentary. All right. Here we go. Let's see how that sounds.
Crip just called, he said he's looking to scrap. He wanted gone up on the track because I murder the raps. Well, yo, Crip homie, just know that I got your back, even if I gotta be a lyrical bully to death.
Alright, so Crypt is the one who put this together, is my understanding. And as I said, there was another cipher, a YouTube cipher. I started talking about that, how it wasn't that good. And then this one is just organized, pretty sure, by Crypt. It's volume 2. I missed volume 1. Whew, that just passed me by. But he's so there are shout outs to Crypt and sometimes in these, and obviously be a lyrical bully to Dax. That goes back to the beef between Dax and various YouTube rappers over a lot of things. A lot of beef.
Just give me the orders, run up and kick your door and hit him with 50 mortars, rigor mortars, kill him and leave the corpses on other people's doorsteps, enter the morgue with venom, and then I get morbid, evil and horrid, I'm in a torture, even the organs out of the orifice, but all they portions gotta be foreskins, and now they like, whoa, how the fuck he spit and just murder so many flows, I don't know, I was bred for this shit since 96, making hits since an embryo.
So you might notice he's doing a lot with the O sound, sort of like rhyming with vowels in that way, so.
I've been the door, I can do blibbity, hibbity, entering in the vicinity, cooking up bits like I'm breaking my walls, I Jesse, we're making amphetamines, just getting messy, I'm finna be killing the enemy, never see any serenity, when I be mentally, heavily off of the Hennessy, sipping the liquor, I lick it up, lickety, spitting my living, I'm kicking with a little bit of venom, and I'm never gonna let it get.
Woo! This is good.
But I'm never gonna second guess, this shit is
yeah.
over. I won. This beat is OJ's wife by the time that I'm done. Marxist.
Alright.
Yeah, check. Okay, the sound.
Alright, so that was a pretty cold line at the end about Nicole Simpson. That was pretty cold. Yeah, now we're coming up here with the second person, but oh my gosh, did he not go? When you talk about ribbity rap, there's a reason they call it ribbity rap. He was just I love that. That's my favorite. Alright, we got the next person here. I forgot, did I even mention his name? Let's see, we'll go back a little bit. Let's see who this is.
Over, I won. This beat is OJ's wife by the time that I'm done.
Go on.
Marxist.
Alright, this is Moxus.
Yeah, check. Okay, the SoundCloud superhero back again. I train hard, so when I'm on a track, I'm overlapping them. I'm lighting up a sack, the holy pack, my only sacrament. No California, though. I took the it's on my back again. Ugh, they probably don't get it. I'ma hit them with a chrome in it. Semi-automatic flow, I gotta get it, though. I'm kicking in the dough with it. Like, oh shit, it's the dope kid with the flow sick. Oh no, sis, and the beef frank, no ocean. Got a weed dank and a potion. When the fleet flank, feeling focused on my fee-fi fun shit. And
I like the F's. The F rolls there. That was good.
Big fire if I wrote shit, so the fee high, you ain't no shit, can afford it, and I'm not nice, I'm a like I got lice, if you caught verse, I will not write, and I got slime like a stop sign, I'm growing up, that's the reason that they've been sad lately, you a loud, annoying little kid, you a bad baby, got up on this beat to have some fun, you know I'm showing out, if a pussy come at me, alinity, I'll throw him out.
I don't know who Ryan Oakes is either. That was alright, like, it was good, like, I wasn't, like, woo, as much. But it was enjoyable. So here we go. We've got Ryan Oakes now coming up here.
I think this girl better back off. She looking at me with some bright hopes. Tell her that she can be tied down if she wanna walk in a tightrope. Hitting that shit from the back, dog. She probably gonna need Geico. She knows that my pockets are so fat, they probably gonna need lipo. Bitch, I made $250,000, y'all ignored until I started murdering these beats. I need some more to kill. Now my pockets looking green, they getting chlorophylled. It's written in my destiny, I'm born to kill. So much caffeine in my system that it's hard for me to concentrate. Shitting on my competition, rappers looking constipated. I never been a dick, don't need to overcompensate. That's why all these women hit me trying to overpopulate. Well, labels scared.
I mean, he's got a good flow. He's not doing a lot with his wordplay. He's, you know, he's not really changing it up too much. I thought he started stronger than he's sort of going into the second half. And it's still, you know, it's not bad. It's better than Ed Sheeran, but it's still not like, you know, an A grade for me. So we'll see how it goes.
To hit me cause I got way too much leverage. If I sign to them, then I'm the one that's bringing benefits. The amount they'd have to give's a mountain like it's Everest. Once that contract's in possession, y'all gonna need an exorcist of ghost.
Yeah.
God.
Alright.
God. Oh Lord, the most slept on the site. Nigga in a different pedigree, dog. I show my bite bigger. Worry about a dislike.
I love the way that he did the video concept on this. So I don't really know if it's, I guess, 4 seconds or 6 seconds or VI. I'm assuming that VI is the Roman letters. But I haven't heard of him, so I don't know. I could be an idiot. That's possible. But he set up his camera inside his refrigerator. I just love the idea of like him rapping, you know, like is sort of practicing his rap in his refrigerator. That's a very clever way as opposed to in front of a mic or something else. So yeah.
It's like your life on a knee, letting it ring like I'm looking for a wife, nigga. Brought a coffin, heard you jack in the box. Try to wind me something popping like a jack in the box. The Armstrong toss a Molotov from a mile away. I son y'all, but I didn't get a fucking gift on Father's Day. Oh, y'all want action till I'm up and blasting fucking tragic suckers plastic. Get your surface bursted for your bubble wrapping rounds of applause with the rounds are the ones I'm clapping. Channels for reactions and I'll react until you're fucking passing. They no snapping, snatching the clout that you niggas gain. But a lot of y'all gon' vanish if the algorithm change. Who wants smoke? I'ma alter your
video called Aries, I think. I don't know who Beerus is, but maybe that was a reference to some KSI thing. Yeah, he's got a great flow. I really like that a lot. Yeah, I like that better than like it's probably like the first guy. I think was for me still the top because of the ribbity, but this was probably coming in like close second. So, and then it closes.
To all of the people that sound the bomb, I'm gonna blow up. That's what I'm made for. Looking for flow, but looking for bars. Cause I'm gonna give you what you came for. I get the blame for murder. You with this fake will burners. What are you fake for? You fake gangs ain't plugged in like Dax with his chainsaw. It's biology. Welcome to the classroom. Shaq, you better tell Jar to stay inside that bathroom. That still won't be fight back.
So, yeah. There's a couple references here in this cipher to No Life Shaq, who's one of the YouTube reaction guys that I watch. And yeah, so that little thing about Ja Rule being in his bathroom when Kamikaze dropped, about that time Eminem, you know, kind of blew up on the reaction channels and they started getting a lot of views because of Kamikaze. A lot of them dug into the back, and maybe No Life Shaq had done it before and looked at the beefs that Eminem had with Ja Rule and with who's the other guy? I can't remember his name now, but and he's got him buried, and there's this inside joke in the show. Anyway, I'm going on too long. We'll get back to the bars here because this guy, I like his flow. I like the way he kind of trips over. And that's yeah. I like what I like.
Like the fat Kim about the Pope, I want all the smoke. Hi there, I'm DK, I'm new here. I'm the guy with the English accent, or the dickhead with the blue hair. That's me. I'm a vet already, I've been putting rappers in the cemetery, leaving dead to bury like what? Coming harder than the military, I'm back in my bullshit with a full clip, got space in the morgue. If I wanna talk shit, got orchis, for your funeral with the fools, body bag, won't find out with the corpses. I'll always be myself and no apologies. At DK rap artists, everybody come and follow me.
Yeah. Alright, that was cute. I liked that. I liked his joke about being the dickhead with the blue hair. That was funny. It's always good to have a little self-deprecating humor. And of course, British humor is often Dante, coming up.
Yo, Crip, one of thanks for the opportunity. Ciphers and freestyles is nothing new to me. I do it beautifully. A couple verses up my sleeve. I love nudity and black bitches. I'm the match when your wrist flicks it. Throw that ass back like a grenade and blow my dick up. Unpredictable with verses like Tourette's. I having hiccups. Look.
Can I just date myself here and say that his flow, what I was reminded of in terms of, maybe it's like the intonation, or maybe it's the way he's kind of bumping on it, but it reminds me a lot of the Humpty Dance. You guys remember the Humpty Dance? The Humpty Dance is your chance, do the hump. For some reason, and maybe it's his flow, but I got echoes of the Humpty Dance. I hope I didn't just like totally taint your experience of the song. Okay, here we go.
They compare your boy to that of a liar who's harder than a sniper, hitting through the chest on a Bible. Don't have any rivals, cause that would imply a fight for survival. Amidst all the rappers I jack up, it's easy now, back up. Calling for backup, I like it, they back up against they wall. Got the bands up against they balls, pause. I ain't mean it like that, dog, and I ain't homophobic. For a meal, I get some hair behind the Kroger. If the deal was just a minute, then it's over. Yeah, I'm mad bugging. Slap you up in public in your city, ho. Only time you slap is the publish button on videos, nigga. We my floors with rappers, no hyperbole, flipping them vertically. Badly attacking with words that they murmuring. My pen is catching bodies, call it John Wick. I feel it as I am jotting, stretching these words like Pilates. I kick, quick, karate, you click. This, you're nodding, you spit. Shit, the body, you thick. Bitch, I'm throbbing. Bitch, I'm finna nut, huh? Dig up in her gut, I eat that booty like it's lunch. Yo, 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 yo.
Alright, so, yeah. And obviously there's some X-rated stuff, so enjoy that with your coffee. But when I'm going to do hip-hop, that's just going to be what it is. And yeah, it's also nice to see there's some representation beyond just, you know, like the guys on this. We've got, there was, like I said, the whatever cipher with the 4 people had a woman, which was great. It's great to see artists lifting up other artists, especially the more marginalized ones, or the ones that, have like less opportunity for a natural platform to join the boys crowd. So, getting on now, I'll see what her name is in just a second.
Yo, it's the girl about to rap.
Lex Brockton.
Yeah, you know I'm on that. Fuck that. We're ready to fuck the game and use these rappers as my comrade. Cause listening to y'all like pressing on a thumbtack. And these rappers, they itching for the, stitching for the, you know that it's a snake if you just listen for the. And I'ma be giving them halos when I be trigger fingering these flows. Leaving them quaking and all of their toes. This is my destiny and what I chose. Look, I'm the best, so why these motherfuckers hate me? If I press inside of this gap, then there ain't gon' be no safety. Ain't no scoping. I'ma put this chrome to your windows, aim and click, click, click like the fucking page won't open. These little
Oof, right? What was that line about your chrome? I'll put up this chrome. That was clever. And like your page won't open, click, click, click. Like all the internet double meaning. That's clever.
no scoping. I'ma put this chrome to your windows, aim and click, click, click like the fucking page won't open. These little rappers know they're
That's hard.
Joking, no he, no ha ha, ja ja, don't matter. Was language spoken. I vanquish these angry faces who try to steal my focus. My staff for me, I pass the seas like I'm the real life Moses.
Pass the sea? Like, did she say pass the sea or part the sea? Like Moses. That's also very clever.
Trying to steal my focus. My staff for me, I pass the seas like I'm the real life Moses.
Pass the seas? Okay. Oh, this guy can sing. He's great.
Like it's trick or treat. I will never freeze on a beat. Control alt delete. That's why I went to work as soon as Crip sent me the beat. Like I can read the signs and see the future like a zodiac. Leaving where they stand, I'm like James Harden with a step back. Lining up that competition, I will always catch them. One hand and defend it like I'm Odell Beckham. Different rules, you play with us, then homie, you gonna lose. Fade up black and you couldn't see us even with Google Maps. And I know you just be hating.
That flow.
Motivation. Cure you from the sickness like a doctor cause you're so impatient. I wanna keep it real with you. I am just not satisfied.
Change it up again.
So I only share the plate with a chosen few. If this a 5-star meal, you a frozen food.
Oh, that was amazing. Like, honestly, I think that's now the new number one in my estimation. He can sing, he can rap, and he can change up his flow. And he's like, when he raps, like when he raps, it sounds good. Like I could listen to that for hours. That's like honey. Alright, now Nem raps.
A wild beast is let loose in the forest. You're screwing yourself like Darth Vader masturbating using the force. Now congratulate this dude, he's a boss. Try me, I will embarrass you like soccer moms do in the floss.
Alright, okay, so you guys this guy's got a lot of punchlines. So he's got a lot of humor in his lines. You need to kind of check out the lines, but yeah, he has a little slightly adult humor about Darth Vader and how he is using the Force in those first lines. So
Got my switch bag in a Glock, put a Joy-Con with a clip back. And when you twitch, I'll be screaming at the chat to clip that. Flow's tight, but no, my screws is loose. I'm Samuel Jackson at this YouTube rapping, grabbing my super suit. My lines got a nice ring to them. Barbells, my name.
My line's got a nice ring to them. Bar, bells, ring, bells. My lines, my bars. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. That's great. That's clever. That's witty. How are you guys doing in the chat, by the way? I should probably check that out. Oh, hold on, let me just see if there's any complaints about sound or anything. Flow is decent. Okay. All right. No, everything seems to be all right. No major complaints. I don't see people tagging me. Christy. Am I sponsored by Sony? No, I just love these headphones. And I got them really cheap when I was in the UK coming back. All right. Gotta go back now a little bit. This guy is due. All right.
I'm Samuel Jackson at this YouTube rapping, grabbing my super suit. My lines got a nice ring to them. Barbells, my name carry weight in the community. Cartels, I'm making the middle for rapping, no capping, and I am not whipping no VVS. I got so many rounds, but rap sheet is longer than the receipt of the CVS. It's finna go down, but it go now, but it hit it with a
oh yeah.
I ain't talking about guns, just talking about bars. I really would have been able to slow down.
Oh yeah.
Try to chalk lines on the instrumental, zip it up. Now I can crush up the infinity stones and the slip it up.
Marvel resin. All right, so I really like that. I really liked his stuff, and I really like his punchlines, and I really like his flow. And now Screwface Jean is up, and you guys, if you've watched these shows, you know I've talked about Screwface before, and I can tell you this is a great cipher from him too. It's just like bars. It's 12 minutes of bars, people. If you like ribbity rap and you like bars and you like punchlines, don't watch that 4-person YouTube. Bleh. Watch the Crip one. He knows who's coming up. All right, now on to Screwface.
I'm the sergeant of all my squadrons, this is all out war. I'll make you sprint like the phone, I'm not the one to call out, boy. And my foes is more than hoes, them bros is all out whores. Time to dead, you pop with the metal, make you fall out, boy. Fuck all that noise, cause now I'm in this bitch like your mother. See, Crypt is my brother, twice slick, I make a Crypt for your brother. My nigga, I've suffered, but you won't hear me bitch like the others. You think they your brothers, but you can hear them hiss when they hug you. Slick motherfuckers gon' end up in the ditch when I'm done. Got a problem, then bite your tongue, that's called a bitch where I'm from. A cig is a gun, one smoke, I'll put that shit in your lungs. Turn me to a serial killer and you cinnamon crunch. My niggas is...
All right, so first of all, you guys, I know I want to check one more time about the sound, because I know that my tools are deceptive in terms of telling me whether or not you can hear. So can you guys just confirm that the levels are okay? I don't need to turn this up anymore, because I can if you need it. And yeah, so SIG being a gun, like a SIG, an SIG SIG or a CIG. And then he was like, oh God, what did he say? I've forgotten it because I was thinking about the sound. I'm waiting for you guys to tell me the sound is good, so I don't have to turn it up anymore. Levels are fine. Excellent. All right, let's go back, because he's got a play on words there with cigarettes and lungs and stuff. All right. Oh yeah, turn me into a serial killer with the gun, but then he talks about how they're cinnamon crunch or whatever, cereal as in breakfast cereal. You eat all the... Get it? Serial killer. All right, here we go.
Yeah, slick motherfuckers gon' end up in the ditch when I'm done. Got a problem, then bite your tongue, that's called a bitch where I'm from. A cig is a gun, one smoke, I'll put that shit in your lungs. Turn me to a serial killer and you cinnamon crunch. My niggas is I'm young and going dumb with the drum. March for a band, a little drummer boy, pow rappa pum pum. For a lump sum, they shootin' like the rock a dum dum.
That beat.
You MIA like paper plays and Bucky done gun. Duck, or down goes Donald, a clown like Ronald. If I was...
Shots at Donald Trump fired. Yes, thank you. Boom, boom, boom. Goes down like Ronald. Yep.
Blackness over the strap, but at the time like McDonald. They asked me why I made all these bars about clapping people. Grew up on battle rap, plus I showed you my Mac is lethal. No.
All right, so he talked about Tom McDonald, who is another YouTube rapper, and then Mac Lethal is actually on this cipher. So another, and he's going to mention Quadeca, who is also on the cipher, and Dante, who is also on this cipher, and he's already mentioned Crip. So there's a lot of shout outs here to the other artists of YouTube and rap, and also who are on the cipher.
Class of people, but I'm grading like professors. Throw you in a lake and now you're really wavy like Quadeca. Try to run, but I'ma catch him. The scope can make it long range. Rifle got the magnifying glasses. I am Dante. A short temper can really make it a long day. And tell Crip that I'm sorry I took the long way. Oh.
All right, now we got Quadeca coming up. As you guys know, I mean, I have a special place in my heart for Quadeca. He's like the first time I really like got into a rap beef diss track battle, and so that was sort of my entry through other people's reactions into this whole world in a little bit. And he's put out an album which we listened to, and to be honest, there's a couple songs on there I listened to, but I haven't listened to the whole album again for a really long time. It is a concept album, and I understand he put a lot of work into putting it together, but I just kind of like have a certain vibe that I want to listen to, and not all his songs have that vibe. It's like no hate or anything. I'm not dissing him. It's just like I'm not always in the mood for what he puts out. So, but this guy can rap. So let's hear Quedeca's Cypher.
Oh, yeah, they like he finally entered. I guess it's time to be bitter. I'm on every track like a parental advisory sticker in a new league. They trying to keep me from getting too hot. I got spice, so I'm getting my blue cheese. I cannot be measured, so I am a rollie. You can't get through me. I'm an IUD to all of these pussies. You know I'm good.
You know what just occurred to me? I'm going to say this. This is just occurred to me. I could totally picture Lin-Manuel Miranda doing this exact same rap. Like, I could imagine him doing these bars. I could almost, in my head, hear Lin-Manuel Miranda's voice when I hear Quedeca, which is maybe a bit odd. But maybe it's their, like, the way that they sort of, their syncopations or whatever. But if you know Lin-Manuel Miranda well enough, see if you could kind of hear a little... I don't know if you've ever heard him do, like, freestyling, because he's amazing. Lin-Manuel Miranda is an amazing freestyler, if you've seen him on Jimmy Kimmel or any of those other shows. No, Jimmy Fallon. There's too many Jimmys in American entertainment. Anyway, here we go. Back to Quedeca, who is not Lin-Manuel Miranda. Oh, right. Sorry, let's go back a little bit. I interrupted. I stepped all over his bars. So.
Advisory sticker in a new league. They trying to keep me from getting too hot. I got spice, so I'm getting my blue cheese. I cannot be measured, so I am a rollie. You can't get through me. I'm an IUD to all of these pussies. You know I'm gonna win it in the end. I need my rupees. They never understand how I do it. Said I couldn't say an S, so I drew a line through it like hi, stupid. My rhymes are too fly to defy Newton. They all rushing, trying to do as much work as what I put in. I'm putting, so you know nobody else is on par. Stopping in their tracks when I driving like I'm a cop car. Fuck rap shit, I got bars but look like a pop star. Look like the BuzzFeed intern who gets employees their Pop-Tarts. Instead I toy with the top charts, now they heard of me. An emergent MC, but you ain't got the M, so you just an emergency. Get it?
So I thought that was it wasn't as clever, honestly, as Screwface's. I thought in terms of wordplay and all that kind of stuff, Screwface put more creative thought, but his flows were really sharp and, snappy. And yeah, I mean, I don't think he put his 100% into it, but it wasn't bad. I've heard better from him. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Like, it was good. All right. So now we're coming up on Johnny Nato, I think. Nato.
Yo.
Joey Nato.
Yeah. Hey, shit, damn son.
Oh,
you never
sorry.
Seen a fucking rapper who be
I lied. Joey Nato made the beat, as we learn here and also at the end. And now, yeah, we've got Mac Lethal. So sorry, I'll back that up because I got confused by what I thought was coming up. Trying again.
Yo. Yeah. Hey, shit, damn son. You never seen a fucking rapper who be this handsome. I never breathe when I be rapping. I got 6 damn lungs. I'm at the offices in UMG with twin handguns. I got a hostage I'ma shoot. I'll need a big ransom. I've been recording like a demogorgon that'll rip your organs out and chop you into 60 portions like I'm.
Like, I get all of the rhyme scheme, but I don't know how Gorgon. I'm sorry, I'm like quibbling now, but it seemed like a lazy rhyme. Sorry, I mean he's really funny. But that line stuck out to me the first time I heard it, so.
Lizzie Borden, just a bit of boredom got me breaking bricks and boards, and I'm a smasher pumpkin like I'm Billy Corgan in a tournament. I'm in some.
That was pretty funny, Billy Corgan and Smashing Pumpkins. I'm gonna give you the point for that. That's actually pretty funny.
In it, I throw you in the city, Morgan. You'll just shiver morbidly with chilly organs when performing. I mix endorphins with liquid morphine. The shit be coursing through my veins. I went to war with 50 horsemen. Drop to your knees and kiss my foreskin. You jam in and press us, jump off the cage and kick you in the face like Anthony Pettis. I roll heads back, your flow's just whack. I'll never die, I'm making videos forever. Call me No Death Shack. I commit homicide like this. I get.
Sorry. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing videos forever. Call me No Death Shack. Again, another shout out to No Life Shack. But he just spin it up like I'm going to stay on YouTube forever. I'm never going to die. So I'm like, No Life Shack. Yeah, No Death Shack. So we'll just put that back. All right.
Kick you in the face like Anthony Pettis. I roll heads back, your flow's just whack. I'll never die, I'm making videos forever. Call me no death shack. I commit homicide like this. I get 3 copyright strikes quick. So tell Susan Wachowski, whatever the fuck that bitch's name is, she can demonetize my dick. Lethal with the straight
I ain't gonna argue with that today.
Your rap looks old. You probably ran that shit through FaceApp. Probably thinking shit is sweet, and I'ma beat you up on camera like fucking ASAP Rocky. Copy.
I copy Mac, get bodied like Tommy Mac with tsunami.
There we go with Crip.
So immaculate, they think it's a magic dagger making these rappers mad. I'll make it disappear, then they disappear when I don't wanna beat and everybody here. Let's view inside my mind and see what things we find and discover. No rapper better than Ice, so take your pick, I'll leave them shuttered. No exposure needed for my focus to show my light. I ran my way in the game with my shows, I'm hungry, so my gig go by. I'll snap in the flash, ready to be on the currency whenever I'm looking at you. Stomping the ass, kicking the motherfuckers when they identity, I'm in a suit. Rappers don't get mad at me, that's something you'll regret. I'll have you nervously perspirating over this beef like meat sweats. Rap is a house and bitch, I'm high up in it. Call me a rap addict, bitch, the sky is not the limit. Roll up on me and get smoked, yo, fuck your drama. I'm cracking skulls in this joint, I call that blunt force trauma. And much more commas won't make me rap with you, I'm immortal. Make you and your hoe go ghost, cause I know you just a paranormals. I'm sick with spitting, that's the difference between you and me. I'm me, but you want the copyright like UMG. Wait, you thought that was it? Crypt is in this bitch, and bitch, you know I gotta spit it quick. So everybody come
Here we go.
I gotta tell you what the fuck we gonna do. We gonna fucking rip it up. Yo, switch it up. Everybody fearing when we hit it up. Rhinos, noses, focus, different broadcasts. Back is lethal, back and and his rap shooting back at people. Like the whack and fake names, raps are regal. Let's ratchet is it. Ripping for the chicks and Doc taking spit. And 6 with a represent. Luke spit so quick, I can't even comprehend. Devon Terrell with the voice of an angel.
Wow.
This fight at the table. And DK repping UK, he won the competition.
I haven't seen this far. This far.
In the coffin, and quads fast, there's no question. My shirt size is XXL, but fuck being a freshman.
I hadn't actually watched it all the way to the end. I got to Crib Spit and I left that. Oh no, I remember this. I must have just missed that. Yeah, you guys. That is amazing amount of talent in one place. Honestly, guys. That was so much fun for me. Like, I needed that. That was like music therapy as far as I'm concerned. My goodness gracious. Alright. Oh yeah, we're coming up to the top of the hour. So, I see Deadlock says, I hate all these rappers that try to flex on bad man stuff they've never done or have experience with. Yeah, agreed. I think it's always best. I mean, the point of rap was to give a framework for authentic experience. But that authentic experience became monetized and capitalized and commercialized and globalized. And so people thought that's what you had to say to make it. But people who really know rap and love rap know that it has to be authentic. Because otherwise it's just BS. I mean, so yeah, I agree. I think it's much better for you to tell your real life stories and to speak from the heart to your experiences instead of trying to like conform. But of course, people want to make money. Somebody look like somebody you know. Too many similes in rap sometimes. I think that's part of the genre. Yeah, you can come back now. We're all done talking about rap. It's time for me to take a break, guys. And we will be back then. We'll go a little bit after the front of the hour. I need to top up on something. I don't know if it's a cold drink or breakfast or coffee or whatever. And then I will mix up the screen a little bit on the way back and we'll talk a bit about the week that was. The fact that impeachment has effectively started, process, I guess, of impeachment has effectively started in the Democratic held House. Can also talk maybe a little bit in the chat about the ACA fallout, and if you guys have some more stuff. I think the Vaush stuff. He was on the Drunken Peasants with V, and I started watching that, so maybe I'll give some comment on that. All right, but let's take a break now. It is currently 5 to the hour, so let's come back. I don't know, maybe 10 after the hour, right? Melody or text I can understand. Hip hop has a neither. Well, if that's why they have the words underneath. I like the rhyming. All right, you guys are subject to my whims because it's my damn show. Oh, this way. All right. Yep, I'm gonna do the thing where I put on the music and go take a break. See you guys in a bit.
tell, can't express myself. Because can't express myself, can't express myself. Be absolution. It's a precious bed, it's a precious bed. That's what you are. It's a precious bed, it's a precious bed. That's what you. It's a precious bed, it's a precious bed. That's what you are. It's a precious bed, it's a precious bed. That's what you are. The absolute.
right, we'll stop there, guys. We'll just turn that off now. I'm back a little early, but it seemed like a good time to do it because the song was ending. So, yeah, we're back. If you come back 2 minutes later, just rewind. We'll be there. Before we went on the break, I mentioned that the Democrats have effectively started an impeachment inquiry, an impeachment process, an impeachment investigation, whatever you want to call it. This was like on Friday, I think, was when this sort of became effective based on some paperwork that was passed. So let's see what the article says. This is from the Daily Beast, but I also saw this reported on MSNBC, and other people have the same take. So this isn't like a outlier take. This is based on the way the judiciary works. I don't actually need these anymore. I can take these off. I'm not listening to anything. Right. So, Nadler, we're pursuing a de facto impeachment inquiry. The Judiciary Committee chairman resisted using the actual word, but he said his oversight efforts were, in effect, an effort to determine whether Trump should go. And I think that this is part of the tightrope that Democrats are walking. I know people criticize Democrats for not just taking a principled stance and being brave and just be motivated by the principles of the rule of law. I think that Nancy Pelosi is being cautious, and I'm going to also put this in my framework, in not pursuing impeachment so quickly or without such justification that she alienates vulnerable Democrats in swing states, and we end up with a situation that Trump's base or people are motivated to turn out to defend him, and we end up with a fascist second-term presidente. But I don't think that Nancy Pelosi is opposed to impeachment either. I think she just wants to make sure that the Dems don't get too far out front of where the public are. And obviously the base want him impeached. They want him impeached basically from the minute after they were sworn into Congress. And that was in January, and we're now in July, right? So I think I said back in March, let's see where the Dems are in the summer and if they're getting going with impeachment by, say, July, August, September. And they are. Even if they don't call it that, the wheels are grinding and turning, and things are moving apace. So it says here, the House Judiciary Chairman, Jerry Nadler, Democrat of New York, said on Friday that his committee was, in effect, conducting an impeachment inquiry, even as he shied away from using that exact phrase. Quote, the committee is exercising its authority to investigate all of these scandals and to decide what to do about them, which could include articles of impeachment, unquote, said Nadler at a press conference. Quote, whether you call that an inquiry or whether you want to call that, or whatever you want to call that, that's what we've been doing and are doing and will continue to do, unquote. The appearance of Nadler and members of the committee was intended to amplify Democratic talking points after Robert Mueller's testimony and to outline their next investigative steps. But that was overshadowed by questions over the prospects of impeachment. In addressing these questions, Democrats were as clear as they have been to date that the very purpose of their current oversight efforts was to determine whether to launch impeachment proceedings. Since Mueller's testimony on Wednesday, 6 Democrats have come out in favor of impeachment, then they list some. Currently, an estimated 100 members of the House back impeachment, and those who do have grown increasingly vocal that Democrats have to make a decision soon about whether proceedings will happen or not. Nadler dismissed talk of a September deadline on such a decision, and after admitting there was little real daylight between what his committee is currently doing and what an impeachment inquiry would look like, the congressman sought to cast a wider aperture in describing his goals. Quote, if an impeachment inquiry is if you're considering only impeachment, that's not what we're doing, said Nadler. We're investigating all of this, unquote. Yet members of the Judiciary Committee who also spoke on Friday freely talked about their efforts within the framework of impeachment. I'd say we are in an impeachment investigation, said Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat of MD. Is that Maryland? Quote, as to the results of the investigation, it could lead to articles of impeachment or could lead to something else, unquote. So, I mean, I don't want to read like all of it. You guys can go and check out the Daily Beast. Put that in the chat. I can't be bothered to go back after these shows and put all these things in there. So does that count as a citation? We'll see, I guess. All right, so effectively, the Dems are moving ahead on impeachment, which is what people wanted, right? Yay! So they're doing it. In the meantime, Trump's white supremacy is marching forward. He is using words like infestation to describe Elijah Cummings' district. I mean, Trump is, well, we know he's a racist POS. He's completely vile as a person. He's an illegal president. He's a Russian. I mean, what can we say? He's a sexual assaulter. He's a criminal. He's an unindicted co-conspirator, or he should be in several cases. He's just protected by his office. I mean, he's just bad all the way around. There's nothing good you can say about him. And yeah, he just disparaged an entire district, calling it a disgusting and rat and rodent infested mess. As chairman of the Oversight and Reform Committee, Cummings, according to the Washington Post, has initiated most of the investigation into the Trump administration's operations and policies, including the recent reports of inhumane treatment at migrant detention centers. Yes, those are concentration camps. There are human rights violations going on in them right now, and they need to be shut, and those people need to be put into like permanent housing until they can have their hearings for their asylum applications, as it was under Obama, when we didn't have concentration camps and people weren't dying and kids weren't being traumatized at very tender ages, very impressionable ages. So he's a racist. I mean, we know he's a disgusting, vile, fascist, misogynist, criminal. I mean, he is. It's just like, these are true things. And well, we'll see. This is also another problem we need to face coming up in what might be our last chance to have a fair election in the United States, or at least elements of a free and fair election before the Russians and the Republicans really take hold of the process and use it to ensure a white supremacist patriarchy that allies itself with capitalism. So hold on, sorry, one second. President Trump launched another broadside on Sunday on the Democratic political opponent, calling a prominent black congressman's Baltimore district a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess and saying no human being would want to live there. He's such a disgusting, vile racist. Trump is awful. He's awful. That Twitter attack on Representative Elijah Cummings plunged the nation into yet another anguished debate over the president's divisive rhetoric, racist rhetoric. Sorry, fixed it for you. And it came just 2 weeks after Trump called out 4 minority congresswomen with a racist go back to your country taunt. The assault on Cummings, the chairman of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, prompted immediate condemnations from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Baltimore Mayor Bernard C. Young, and several other top Democrats. The outburst also undercuts efforts by many Republicans over the past 2 weeks to defend Trump and insist that his earlier attacks were based in ideology rather than race. Oh, right. It's so much better to, tell people that they should lose their citizenship for disagreeing with you. Wait a minute, that's not any better. That's just another form of bigotry. But Trump's advisors, and also the Republicans have basically just covered for him, and they're protecting his racism and the rise of white supremacy. Like, they benefit from it. If you look at, you might have occasionally non-white members, but they are benefiting from being part of the Republican system that's upholding it. Selfishly, right? They're doing it for themselves, not for the good of the community. But Trump's advisors had concluded after the previous tweet that the overall message sent by such attacks is good for the president among his political base, resonating strongly with the white working class voters he needs in re-election in 2020. This has prompted them to find ways to fuse Trump's nativist rhetoric with a love it or leave it appeal to patriotism ahead of the 2020 election. Of course, he didn't leave it because he didn't love it when Barack Obama was president. But now he wants to ideologically purge people. Just like Carl wants to ideologically purge people who he doesn't consider having proper English values. While seeking to avoid the overt racist language the president has used in his tweets about the 4 congresswomen. So we want to get back to dog whistles. It's not clear whether Trump will abide by such limitations. He's an open racist. That was me commenting. The president kicked off his Twitter attack Sunday morning by calling we talked about that, a very dangerous and filthy place. It has a median income of around $60,000 a year and a higher percentage of college graduates than the country as a whole. Oh, wait. Because they're represented by a black man, it must be a poor district that's rat-infested? Racist. Racist. The attack on Cummings underscores Trump's penchant for undermining any attempts by Republicans to steer clear of overtly racial attacks. Yeah, because this is it. The GOP has always been a racist party. Maybe you guys saw it on Twitter. I retweeted it, but Joe Scarborough put out a tweet during the Mueller hearings and said, "Jesus, forgive me for ever having been a Republican." Every person who thought the party wasn't who's deluded enough and like white privileged enough to tune out all the obvious racist dog whistles and not so dog whistles that were going on in that party for decades. Now you're surprised that it's coming out in the open? No. It's always been there. The Republican Party's always been a racist party since it's benefited from the racist whites leaving the Democratic Party after the Civil Rights Movement. Since 1965, it's become the party of white supremacists. That's the GOP in the modern era. And at this point, they're actually to the point where they are protecting fascists. 250 says Thomas Smith, who's great, go watch series or listen to Serious Inquirers only. His less SIO is in part about how asking prominent Republicans if Trump is a racist is a waste of time because they have no issue with lying. Well, they don't even have issues with the racism. If anything, they're just going to say things that is really dumbass things like some guy from Ireland who is saying that he's a person of color because he's white and he's got he's Anglo-Saxon and he comes out of Ireland. So he doesn't even know what he's talking about. If you were from the British Isles, you realize how idiotic that was. But they'll just say, oh, well, I don't get offended when people tell me say racist things to me. How often has that white guy been told, go back to your own country? I'd really like to know the instances and that happened to him. So, of course, when you are not the target of racism, it's quite easy to dismiss it. And none of these white guys who are defending the president or the white women who are defending him have been the subject of racist attacks. The worst that they have been has been called racists. But they actually haven't been the victim of a racist attack or insult or campaign. Republican officials say Trump is harnessing the anger of those who continue to feel left behind besides the strong economy. No, they're just being racists. It's just being racist. Trump, who turned the deplorable label into a rallying cry. Yeah, might as well just wear sheets. Is seeking to do the same in 2020 as he tries to retain the support in key Midwestern states. And then it goes over the squad attacks. And campaign advisors and party officials, some of whom spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss internal deliberations, said that an appeal targeted at Trump's white working class base will not necessarily cost him moderate voters. You mean racist white voters who hold moderate policy positions on other things? All right. Oh, yes. Publicly, the campaign and advisors have sought to shift the conversation away from race and toward the less explosive territory of ideology. Right, because hiding behind ideology, but the people you decide to target all happen to be not white. But they have also pushed back aggressively against charges of racism, seeking to make common cause with supporters who also feel they are too quickly branded as bigots. Poor white people who have to, tolerate them being criticized for holding views other people perceive as racist? Wait, these are the same white people who are going to complain that they can't use the N-word? But they don't want anyone to use the word racism on them? They're like, oh, no, you can't say the R word to me? BS. Yes, usually, so this is Brian Lanza, advisor to Trump, and he says, usually when they are faced with charges of racism, Republicans hide a little bit, and the Republican's not hiding. I think that is what Republican voters like about him. Yeah, he doesn't hide from the fact that he's a racist, and racists like that. You just need to call the people who support him racists. Because, as I put out on Twitter, just holding a racist view, personally, silently, on your own, isn't as bad as claiming to not be a racist, but voting to put someone you know is a racist in power. And we all knew Trump was a racist. He said so many racist things. So if you don't see his comments as racist, it's because you're a racist already. And if you're like, well, I'm not a racist and I don't approve of what he says, but I'm still going to put him in power, you are empowering racism. You are institutionalizing racism as a policy. That is worse than saying something under your breath in the car or something. So we have to, what are you supposed to do? Deny the fact that all of these white people are supporting white supremacy? When are we going to stop coddling racist whites? When are we going to start actually standing up for the Constitution and what we say we would believe in, what I was taught in schools that this country is supposed to believe in? We have never achieved, in part of because of white supremacy, because of the KKK, because of misogyny, because of patriarchy. And the progressives are out here trying to break down barriers, legal barriers, economic barriers, social barriers, cultural barriers, in order to let more people have an opportunity at the American dream. And what you're saying is, if you don't believe like the white man, you can't be a real American. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out with that shit. Times are changing, and they have the money and they have a lot of institutional power. If we can try to push out Trump, push out the Republicans in the Senate, we probably have about 2 years before there's always going to be a political backlash. If we manage to get all three branches, we've got about 2 years to try to put in protections against another Trump. And if we can't do it in 2 years, we might lose the Republic. And actually, I do think we are in a crisis at this point. I think we're in a democratic crisis. We are teetering, we're already tipping over toward fascism. It's not a threat that's coming. It's already undermining our institutions. Our judiciary is being packed. The president is joking about not leaving office. And half the country, 40%, 47%, don't even care. With that kind of populace, how can you say we deserve the kind of rights? And we deserve them because we're citizens. But if people aren't going to go out and vote for them and do the peaceful democratic things necessary to protect them, then what they're doing is putting us in a position where we might have to have a civil war to get them back. But at that point, the fascists will have had all the guns and all the power and all the judiciary and the border agencies. So where are we going to go? Right, yeah, so basically Republicans are racists as a party collectively. They are pro-fascist. They are fascist water carriers. They don't have any interest in actually protecting... Mitch McConnell, should we talk about Moscow Mitch? Mitch McConnell, vote Russia, protect elections. Yeah, that's probably a better one. Yeah, so he's just blocked a bill on election security safeguards. Because apparently having free and fair elections is only something Democrats want to have now. Republicans are quite happy, even though the Trump government put out a report saying all 50 states had their elections, like offices or computer systems, hacked into. I can show you that as well. Okay. Oh god, these places, they're stupid ad block whiny. Me, but don't put on the ad block. Okay. Leading U.S. officials have repeatedly warned Congress of late that our elections are still at risk from foreign attackers, most notably. By the way, here I'll also just... sorry. What was that all about? I don't know. What I wanted to do was put a link to this in the chat, so if you guys want to see the Washington Post article. I don't think I will go in. Hold on. I think it's too long. I'm trying to put the link in the chat, but the link isn't. It's too big. Anyway, well, you guys can see the page. You can go look up the headlines. I'm really lazy today. Right, the elections are still at risk from foreign attackers, most notably Russia, which helped elect Donald Trump 3 years ago. Just this week, FBI Director Christopher Wray, this was in July 26 of 2019, Ray reminded Congress that despite sanctions, Russia is determined to interfere in our elections, while former Special Counsel Mueller was even less subtle. Yada yada yada. It's against this backdrop that Democratic senators urged their colleagues yesterday to pass 2 bills. One that would require voting systems use backup paper ballots and mandate tech safeguards. Gee, these sound like entirely reasonable regulations to put on elections, that we have a physical copy of everyone's ballot in case we need a recount, and we need technical requirements, safeguards, so that they can't be hacked into. The other, and another that would require campaigns to report attempts at foreign inter-election interference to federal authorities. So you wouldn't be able to go, oh, of course, that sounds great. I'll take that meeting if the Russians call you. Two things, very easy. You would think any civic-minded American would want to protect the integrity of our elections. These seem like very obvious, non-threatening things to do. A physical backup of a digital ballot, so we can have a physical copy to count in the case of a recount or an investigation. Technical requirements to protect our voting machines. And to make it law, clear, explicit, not just on your good, intentions or on your honor, to report election interference to federal authorities. Who could suppose that? Oh, wait. Mitch McConnell, Republican, blocked both. Why? He says, they are trying to give themselves a political benefit. Democrats are trying to give themselves a political benefit. And that McConnell objected to Schumer's trying to pass this, saying he was trying to pass partisan legislation. I mean, if you want to say that Democrats are trying to get a genuine political outcome in which they win because they win more votes, if that's political benefit, that's just democracy. That's the fact that you lose and someone else wins and they get to put their policies in place, or at least try to for a while. But Republicans aren't for democracy. They are for the veneer of democracy while they organize a voting system to ensure white, male, Christian, capitalist, cis, all of this, everything, hetero, all that. The Christian patriarchy under capitalism. And they're pursuing their agenda. It's not been in the last 6 years or 8 years. This is the 40-year plan. This is basically post-civil rights dream of white supremacists. And Trump's just dropped the act. He's dropped the act that the Republican Party isn't about consolidating and protecting white, Christian, conservative, patriarchal power over everyone in America while pretending they're citizens and pretending they have rights and pretending they have freedoms. End times, people. We're in the end times if we don't get on top of this. So that's why I had to go with the hippity hop, ribbity rap earlier, because this is just depressing. And the elections report. I wanted to show you guys that too. Report all 50 states election interference. Yes. Right. Oh, I can't do the New York Times. New York Times, I only have so many free articles per month. So, Washington Post it is. So this was from 2 days ago. Russians probably targeted election systems in all 50 states. Senate panel report says. The Senate is run by Republicans, remember. This is not a Democratic conspiracy to falsify information. It's not like Trump's fake voter fraud commission that petered out because there's not systematic voter fraud. The Senate Intelligence Committee, in a new report on Russian interference, this is by Karun Demirjian and Colby Itawizik. Those two. These lovely people whose names are almost impossible for me to pronounce. And it's written on July 25th. So, in a new report on Russian interference in the 2016 election, said Thursday that systems in all 50 states were probably targeted in some manner, and that the federal government fell short in warning about the threat that vulnerability persists, and that vulnerability persists heading into the 2020 campaign. Remember now that when Barack Obama was president and the Russians were mucking about and this started to come out and Barack Obama wanted to push back, he went to the Republicans and said to Leader McConnell and Paul Ryan, can we do some sort of joint statement, unified as Americans, about this and stand against Russia? And Mitch McConnell refused. McConnell, I think that's spelled wrong, but we'll get there. Obama, Russia, pre-election letter, refused. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get me there. Oh, I think it maybe was. Yeah, there's also this one from Biden. McConnell stopped Obama from calling out Russia. All right, so we can see Mitch McConnell is deep. Like, I don't know what Putin has on Lindsey Graham, but we know that Mitch McConnell's, like, his state is benefiting from Russian investment right now. We're not going to watch any video. But this was from January of this year, last year, 2018. Joe Biden said Tuesday, this was in 2018, that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stopped the Obama administration from speaking out about Russian interference in the 2016 campaign by refusing to sign on to a bipartisan statement of condemnation. That moment, the former Democratic vice president said, has made him think that the die had been cast. This was all about the political play. Biden, I'm quoting. Biden expressed regret in hindsight given the intelligence he says came in after Election Day. Had we known what we knew 3 weeks later, we may have done something more. Great, Biden. That's a great... like, Obama tried to do something more. That was the thing you should have said. You should point that out. Just say that. Oh, you're just like gaff. Biden said he and former President Barack Obama worried that without a united front of bipartisanship, speaking out before the elections would undermine the legitimacy of the elections and the American institutions in a way that would play into Russia's largest hand. Can you imagine if the president called a press conference in October with this fella Bannon and company and said, "Tell you what, Russians are trying to interfere in our elections and we have to do something about it," Biden said. What do you think that would have happened? Would that have gotten better, or would it have further looked like we are delegitimizing the electoral process because of our opponent? McConnell's office disputed the account, pointing to a letter signed by all 4 congressional leaders in September of 2016 and sent to the president of the National Association of State Elections, urging cybersecurity precautions in light of reporting hacking. But this missive, however, did not address Russia specifically or the larger topic of influence beyond voting systems. Mitch McConnell is a Russian asset. In some way or another, they've got him. Yeah, so Biden doesn't care about democracy. Republicans don't care about democracy. They care about whiteness, maleness, and power. That's it. I mean, just look. Whiteness, maleness, and power. That's all they want. They want to keep things the way they were back in the Klan days. Only slightly less deadly because it's bad for tourism or something. America is a semi-fascist state at this point. The executive branch and one of the congressional houses are basically run by pro-fascists. So, yeah, happy Sunday, everyone. Like, I got nothing else. It's an emergency. It's a crisis. The house is on fire. But nobody's running around with their head screaming yet. We're all just so used to... People have been so numb to or support it. And so I guess the only thing we can do is talk about this, right? Try to raise some awareness. I could just sit at home and be miserable, but I come out on air and I'm miserable to you guys instead. Hold on, I can switch this. So, or I can look at the chat a little bit too. I'm wrapping up. I have no idea how long. Yeah, hour and a half. I'm still a little bit recovering from my travels, plus I'm gonna have a long show tonight that I'm doing. Patron hangout, come and hang out. It's been a while since I've seen my peeps. I've been just on the road so much. And I guess I can also announce, I should have done this at the top of the show, but at the moment I'm currently going to, I'm scheduled to, I haven't set it up yet, have V on the channel. I'm finally, V and I, I should talk about this. V and I are going to, but the thing about the ACAs, it's kind of been talked to death now that I'm kind of thinking about it. I put that on as an idea. But one thing I would say is go and watch Dusty Smith. He had a really, really good review of some of that stuff. He also talked about the Bosch stuff. And hold on, let me just pull this up again. Dusty Smith, we can just do a shout out on the ACA stuff, because also Essence of Thought has another great video. So I can do a couple shout outs here. Essence of Thought yesterday put out the long ass video. You can see I watched it start to finish here. Matt Dillahunty's Dishonest Defense of Rationality Rules Transphobia. Go watch this. It is comprehensive. Matt Dillahunty is a douchebag. I mean, I knew this from the MythCon stuff. I mean, he blocked me when I was on it was holiday when my dad was here. So was that last year? Or was it, no, it must have been last year. A lot has happened since like last summer. Whew. But he was being a douche about, I'm sure it was MythCon related. I'm absolutely sure it was MythCon related. So, more Matt Dillahunty douchebaggery. Then, yes, so go check that out. Dusty Smith. I'm just copying him because that's what he does on his show. Yeah, two things. If you missed it the first time, the atheist experience implodes over transphobia. Fuck Matt Dillahunty. And then he also looks at the Vosh situation, and also he talks a bit more about Matt Dillahunty being a deceptive douchebag. So those are two ways into, if you want to learn more about what's happening with the ACA and the fallout, and it's basically, as Dusty would say, like, you know, a home for chuds now, like Chudland over there, dude bros, that kind of thing. Yeah, you can go check that out. Sure. Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, I can redo my PayPal link. Can definitely do that, not a problem. Yeah, what else would we say? We're gonna talk about, boy. They are white males, it's interesting, keep it wild. But how did you and V end up doing tabletop gaming? Mention it in the happy hour, but I want to understand it. Right, oh yeah, that was talking about that. Okay. Here. This picture is kind of small. Can I do me big? We'll see. Hold on a second. Right, yeah, Monday. Possibly Monday. Maybe a little bit later than Monday, another time. But, there's me looking at the chat. Actually, I can do it this way so I can cover up all my icons. You guys don't need to be bothered with what's on my tabletop. Oh, I gotta hit transition. This was ages ago, where V sort of DM'd me randomly on a random topic, and if you start out treating me like a jerk, I will block you. If you don't start out treating me like a jerk, I'll interact with you and then see where things go. And so this was like 1.5 years ago. There was like a line of communication, and then we interacted more, and he would send me dumb stuff and I would tell him I was stupid, and then I would send him stuff and he would tell me why he wouldn't absorb it, or he'd make excuses or whatever. And I mean, I don't exactly, so here's the thing. I have my suspicions that it might have been in some ways, and V's probably going to deny this, but I have my suspicions that Sargon wanted to try to get me in a position where I would talk to him and I would be nice to him, and I think he thought if I would set something that like V would bring me into a space and became friendly with me, that maybe that's a conspiracy theory. But anyway, he had a game going, and it was, you're, as a creator, as a YouTuber, you're always on this edge of, should I be trying to open up lines of communication and talk to people because I might change their minds, or I might at least get them to stop putting out bullshit information? Can I at least get them to cite things accurately? Can I have them up their game a little bit? Maybe I won't get them to change their minds 100%, but maybe I can up their standards of evidence. Maybe I can get them to stop saying thing X because thing X is demonstrably not true. And I don't want to associate with these horrible people. So it's always like a balancing act. And I thought with the gaming, it might be an opportunity to see V outside of a context of just YouTube antagonism. And it wasn't only him, it was like a bunch of other people, and I hadn't gamed in ages. So there was no politics really involved. We pretty much kept, V and I were snarky about David Sherratt because we both agree he's a dick. So, there was like that came up once, but otherwise I like D&D and I hadn't played in ages. And he had a game going and needed someone, he said he had a spot going, he was putting something together. So, but that was actually a lot of fun. Like, I met some of the people and we were having a really good time. And then suddenly, like, after Carl appeared on the happy hour and was humiliated publicly a couple times, then suddenly that game just ended. So, I don't know. V might have had legit reasons, or, maybe the whole thing about trying to, do an end round, some sort of op, getting me involved by guilting me about not being mean to Carl because I'm, I get on with V in a gaming situation. But one of the things that we've gone back and forth about, gosh, maybe even for well over a year, is whether or not we should have like a talk on YouTube. And he's always been willing to have me on his channel, and I've always been a little bit, because he makes bullshit arguments. He makes really bad arguments, and he will just go off topic, and he'll bring in random stuff, and it's just very unrigorous. So I've kind of held off, but I proposed to him that we discuss this article by Tim Wise. Let's see if I can even find it about white supremacy. And that's what we're going to do. We are going to look at this article written by Tim Wise, and on white privilege. I'm looking for the most. No, I'll put this into. I know it said white nationalism in the article. I've got to find it. Well, I've given him the link, so I'll have to find it. But I will when I make that. When I make that hangout, I'll also put a link to the white supremacy article that he had put out, because I think it's important. For me, Tim Wise is a great person to talk about, to learn how to talk about racial justice, because I feel like my audience is primarily white, and probably most of my audience is all kind of really cool with that sort of stuff. But the average person, I just sort of like. And maybe that's a bias on my part because I grew up in Wisconsin. But I think it's being a white person talking about racial justice to other white people. If they're suspicious, there's one less bigotry barrier in the way there, right? And so I need to do what I can. I want to in defense of my Constitution. I want to in defense of the American principles that I was raised to believe that we have, to ensure justice for every single American. And institutionally, in terms of the system and who controls power, I need to be talking to white people who don't understand how institutionalized, or maybe they don't understand how racism works on the institutional level. Maybe they're just so focused on don't call me a racist, whatever. But I need to do more than just stand by and let this stuff happen. So he and I are going to talk about a very specific article, and the idea there is to keep it focused and to keep it keep us both responding to one thing as opposed to it going off in 15 different directions. And I hope that if we can live Google and we can fact check live and we can stay within the framework of the article, we'll have a productive conversation. So that is with that. And to be fair, V is not Sargon. V is different in his interactions, and V has his own takes. And there's a lot of things he stands, for Carl. He'll do a lot of standing for him. But I actually feel, having dealt with them both, that V is at least more intellectually honest than Carl is. And that there is scope for him taking in new information. Whether he'll change his mind on air is something else, but he does have a better framework for processing information, in my experience, than Carl does. And on that note, looking for an RPG, check out Tales from the Loop. It's a great series. Okay, yeah, I'm always looking for that stuff. I'm gonna wrap it up now, guys. Only 15-20 minutes early. Come back later after Steve Shives has his patron hangout. I'll be having my patron hangout, and then Monday night when I get around to setting it up, it'll probably be tomorrow because I'm getting really lazy already. Monday night it'd be about 9:00, I think, my time, 8 or 9 o'clock, usually around happy hour time. But check the channel, and I'll put stuff out on that happy hour and on my Twitter as well. Thanks for stopping by, you guys. Thanks for the support and the positive comments in the wall going up yet. No, I did not mention the wall. HK, you can tell me about that on Twitter afterwards. And I was in my wrap-up. So, yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for your support. We'll sort out my PayPal thingy, and if you want to drop me some, $1 on Patreon, that's great. But as I said, there are other creators who have greater financial need. But I'll still take your money. It will help me. I just got actually a new camera to do recording with. And the last thing I'll say is that when I go on vacation, well, I'm meant to be going on vacation on the 15th of August till the 2nd of September. And my goal is I want to make a video about the S-Bond serial killer. I want to try my hand at a longer form, true crime type of format and push myself in that direction. So we'll see if it goes well. It'll be something completely different from anything I've ever done, which is why I'm doing it on holiday, to do something different. Okay, catch y'all later. Have a great one, and we'll see you maybe back here for the Patreon Hangout. Until next time, I've been Christy. You've been awesome. Bye-bye.